Hi, welcome to The Inner Way. I'm your host, Father David Smith. We've been looking at the spiritual classic Unseen Warfare, and I hope that you have enjoyed the book as much as I am enjoying it. This week we're up to chapter 17, and before I start, I kind of apologize. I'll just let you know that I'm going to be talking a lot over the next couple programs at least about the way that I was overcome my eating problem, my passion, my ongoing temptations with food. I used the writings of a different saint, Saint Ezekias, to sort of help me through that period of my life, which is ongoing. It'll probably happen until the very end of my life. But Unseen Warfare says pretty much the same thing, which is what we find when we read these kinds of writings of the saints, that they are essentially all saying the same thing, but they just say it in different ways, in ways that sort of keep our attention and give us different perspectives of the same thing, so that we can learn holiness as they teach it. So today we go to chapter 17 of Unseen Warfare. Chapter 17 is entitled, In What Order You Should Fight Your Passions. And it's a short chapter, but very valuable. This is the way it starts. It would be very useful for you, my brother, to know well the order in which you should fight your passions, so as to do this work as it should be done, instead of simply haphazardly, as some people do, without great success, and at times even with harm to themselves. The order in which it is necessary to fight your enemies and struggle with your bad desires and passions is the following. Enter with attention into the heart and examine carefully with what thoughts, dispositions, and passionate attachments it is specially occupied, and which passion is most predominant and tyrannically rules there. Then against this passion, first of all, take up arms and struggle to overcome it. So I found that many times in my life, I would decide to be a better person, decide to be a better Christian, decide to be a better priest. And I would think to myself of all of the things that I was either doing wrong or I wasn't doing that I should have been doing. And I would try to do all of those at once. As Unseen Warfare says, haphazardly. So I would say, well, I'm not in very good shape, so I'm going to start to go to the gym. And I'm going to pray longer every day, and I'm going to study my ancient Greek in a disciplined way every single day. And I'm going to read spiritual books rather than novels. And I'm going to stop watching TV and just read at night. And I'm going to do all of these good things. I'm going to carry my prayer rope with me all the time and pray the Jesus prayer continually and so on. And I would do those things for, you've been through this as well as I have, How long? 2, 3 days? Maybe a week? But at some point, things begin to fall away. I'm back to praying like I always prayed. I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm eating the way I ate before. I'm watching TV the way I watched before. My life just kind of goes back into being what it was before. And the reason was that I had tried to take on everything at once. And I would actually be successful for a very short period of time, but not over the long run. So what happened to me, it was back in 2016, that I came to the conclusion that I really needed to get my eating under control. And so I was reading St. Ezekias at the time, who was saying exactly the same thing that Unseen Warfare says. You choose the one that's the worst, and you focus on that. You don't let the other ones just do whatever they want, but you focus on one thing. And so I did. I wasn't focusing on weight loss. That has never been my goal, but I was focusing on holy eating, neptic eating, reasonable, watchful eating. So I focused on that. And if I had a chance to exercise, I would exercise if I felt like it. But I wasn't going to beat myself up over not exercising. And I didn't simply let the other sins that I have go by the wayside. I didn't say to myself, well, hey, I was very judgmental today, but that's okay. I ate a reasonable breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so I guess I'm better off. No, I didn't simply just let the other ones go by, but they were not my focus. My focus was eating, constantly thinking about it. As a matter of fact, next week when we talk about chapter 18 of Unseen Warfare, we'll talk a little bit more about that focused attention and how you actually make that work. So I love this piece of advice here, because all of us have that one thing that challenges us the most. It's different for everybody. Well, it's not different for everybody, but it differs from person to person. But we can identify that, and we can focus our attention on that in a way that helps us to overcome the passions that the demons tempt us with, and thereby grow closer to God. I found myself indeed growing closer to God just simply by looking at that one thing and learning to eat reasonably. Well, chapter 17 is short, and I think that it gives us, though, a piece of advice which will really make us benefit from any spiritual writing or any movement of our soul toward a desire to be in unity with God. I hope that's the case with you. Chapter 18 next week talks a little bit more about the same thing, but we're going to look at what happens when I am focused on one particular passion, but I find myself caught off guard every once in a while and I end up falling. What can I do about that? We'll look at that next week. Until then, God bless you, and I'll see you in church.